Hello everyone, welcome back to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi dated 6 June 2024. Today again we will be discussing some important topics that has appeared in today's The Hindu and The Indian Express newspapers which are very relevant for your exam. The first topic is an important topic of polity, that is special category status, which is time and again demanded by various states of India. Then in our second topic we will try to look into representation of women in Lok Sabha after the recent conclusion of Lok Sabha elections. Then in our next topic we will try to look into status of TB burden in India. Then in our next topic we will try to learn about an important geophysical phenomena, that is blizzard. Then we will look into an important science and technology topic, that is dark matter and dark energy. Then at the end we will look into some prelims snippets which will help you in excelling your prelims exam. So stay tuned. Our first topic is special category status. The context of this topic is that with the recent conclusion of Lok Sabha elections and success of an important political party in Andhra Pradesh, demand for special category status for Andhra Pradesh has gained further push. This topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 2, that is federalism and center-state relations. So let's try to understand some basics. Before going to the basics of special category status, there is an similar nomenclature where special status is granted to various states. Like that was under Article 370 for Jammu and Kashmir. And this Article 370, as you know, has been scrapped, has been repealed. So now this special status of Jammu Kashmir is no longer available. Under this special status, generally some legislative and administrative autonomy or freedom is given, whereas special category status is mainly focusing on economical and financial aspects. They want to be treated a little better than the other states, especially in the economical and financial sphere. So this is a classification given by the center, and the main aim of this special category status is to assist the development of the states that are facing geographical and socio-economic disadvantages. That can be due to the hilly terrain, that can be due to the population issues, okay, and other things like. Then it was started after the recommendation of 5th Finance Commission in 1969. Some of the states which got special category status in earlier time was Jammu and Kashmir and Assam, among others. Then this special category status was earlier given by National Development Council, which was a part of Planning Commission, which has been scrapped, and new body Niti Aayog has been formed after 2014. Now I want to ask a question to you people: who is the chairman of National Development Council? You people comment your answers in the comment box. Now this special category status has been done away by the 14th Finance Commission. The reasoning that 14th Finance Commission have said that they are increasing the share of the states in the devolution of funds from 32% to 42%. Now these states will be getting proper finances, and there is no need for giving any special category status. Now one question that may come in your mind, that what are the various parameters, what are the various parameters under which this special category status was being given. Some of the criteria which has been given by the Guide formula was that the state should have hilly terrain, it should have low density of population, it is located strategically, means it can be located along the borders, and there is economic and social backwardness in the states. Apart from this, one another factor was the non-viable nature of state finances, which was also an important parameter and criteria. However, these are not the strict criteria. The central government can grant an special category status apart from any of the other criteria. For example, Telangana was given the special category status after it was bifurcated from the Andhra Pradesh. So apart from this, if I will draw your attention towards this map, you will see these Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Assam, Nagaland, Tripura and Manipur, mainly they are strategically located, they have hilly terrain and they also generally have a low density of population as compared to the other mainland. So that's why they were earlier having this special category status where they were getting several benefits from the centers. Now, let's try to understand what are the various benefits of the special category status that is given to the states. The first is that the 30% of centers gross budgets goes to these special category status. So this forms a major chunk of the central government's budget or the finances goes to the special category status, which ensures that the viable states of state finances remain intact. Then it also provides significant concessions like excise and customs duty, income tax and the corporate tax benefits are given to these states. Some lower level of corporate tax are excise duty, custom duties are these states give lower duties, lower corporate tax, etc. So how does this help in improving the condition of these states? For example, if the special category status state have to give lower corporate tax, now more of the company will be interested in investing in that particular state. So that will lead to increased FDI, okay, in that particular state, increased investment in that particular state, that will create more jobs in that particular state, and particularly the more economic and social indicators will improve with the more jobs and more income, more disposable income coming with the people. So that help in creating a cycle that will ultimately create a proper growth and development cycle in that state, and it will improve the lives of the people, the finances of the states in that particular state. Then the 90% of the funds required in the centrally sponsored schemes are given to the special category status. Means what if there is a SCS category state, special category status state, then the centrally sponsored scheme, the devolution or the contribution of the states will be given by the center almost in tune of 90%. Okay, let's also understand what is centrally sponsored scheme and central sector scheme. Let's suppose this is a scheme XYZ. Okay, now there may be, if this is a centrally sponsored scheme, there will be a fixed formula that this much contribution will be coming from the states and this much coming from the center. Let's suppose 40% will be coming from the center and 60% will be coming from the states in a centrally sponsored scheme. Whereas in central sector scheme, 100% contribution is from the center only. Now, if a state is given special category status, this 40%, 60% contribution that state has to give, that state have to contribute in that centrally sponsored scheme, that 90% of that 60% will be given by the center only. So center was already giving 40% of its share of its contribution. Apart from this, they will also give 90% share from that 60% share of the states. Means almost 80-85% will be coming from the center only for the special category status in case of centrally sponsored scheme. Various schemes like Manrega, PM Awas are examples of the centrally sponsored scheme. Then the next benefit is that the unspent money in a financial year does not lapse and rather it carries forward to the next year. Okay, what does it mean? Let's suppose there was 1 lakh crore in the consolidated fund of state. Then at the end of 31st March, 10,000 crore was not spent by that particular states. So in the other category states, it will be lapsed, they will not be able to use after 31st March. But in a special category status, these states can use this 10,000 crore fund that is lying on their consolidated fund, and that will not be lapsing, rather they can carry forward that fund to the next year. Then the other benefit is that benefits of debt swapping and debt relief schemes. What does debt swapping means? Means central government can take over some of the loans from these states in lieu of some other things. Let's suppose there was a power company of state which was in lot of debt. Central government can say that okay, we are giving some loans, we are paying your loans related to this power company, but we'll have some share in this state power company. Apart from this, there are various debt relief schemes also provided to the different special category status. Means government can give some concession in the interest payment that the state have to give. Let's suppose there was some loan that was outstanding of the states towards the center. Means central has given some loan to the states that state couldn't pay at this point of time. Now the center can give some relief, that they can extend the loan period, they can give some lower interest rate, and that these are the benefits that these special category status will be getting. Okay. Now what are the different concerns regarding the special category status? First is the increased burden on the central finances. As we know, after the 15th Finance Commission, okay, it have increased the share of states in the divisible pool to 41%. Okay, so it has already given lot of chunk of finances from the states divisible pool to the states, and when again there will be multiple states who are requiring the special category status, now center will be compelled to give some other finances, some other funds to these states, which can further hamper the center's finances itself, and it can increase the fiscal deficit of central finances, and further it can hamper the macroeconomic stability. Then it can also create the domino effect. What does it mean? Let's suppose today government give Andhra Pradesh and Bihar special category status. Now tomorrow again several of the states will be demanding the special category status. Means it can create a domino effect where by looking at these states which have got the special category status, several other states can demand of this special category status, where they can get several benefits from the center. Then it also affects the competitive federalism. The competitive federalism, that is between the states, between the different states, to improve their finances, to improve the condition of employment, to improve the conditions of their state finances, that will be affected because they have this facility of special category status, and in this case they might be compelled or they might be motivated towards some freebies, towards some populist measures, and that will affect the further other states' finances. So it also affects the competitive federalism, the federalism that is between the different states of the India. Then it can also lead to political manipulation, where let's suppose there are some political compulsions of the central government, and the other states which are demanding these special category status, they can manipulate the central government to get this special category status, to give support to the central government, and that will also not be very beneficial for the democratic framework of India and the macroeconomic framework of India. Then it can also create the dependency and accountability. Means the dependency will be more on the center's finances. So state will not be compelled, they will not be motivated to improve their macroeconomic condition, and they will be time and again dependent on the center finances. And second is the accountability of state will not be ensured. The people of state are obviously electing the state government so that they can get proper benefits from the state government. But if state is not accountable, they are only relying on the center finances, center help, then their accountability is not ensured. Okay. So these are the some of the concerns that are majorly due to the special category status. Okay. Now, what should be the way forward? First of all, there is need for transparent and standardized framework for evaluating states. Some of the parameters that we have seen as of now, the hilly terrain, the strategic location, the low density of population, these parameters are very subjective. First of all, there is need for development of a proper, transparent and standard framework parameter where the states can be judged. There is no doubt at all that some of the states might be in need of some urgent funds, might be in need of some special status, but that parameter in deciding which state needs funds, which needs special status, should be standard, should be transparent. Then there is need for prioritizing addressing current development challenges. Okay, let's suppose there are some developmental challenges in the northeastern states. There are some border related developmental challenges in the strategic located states. So there is need for prioritizing the development of that particular infrastructure issue rather than giving special status altogether, where there may not be that accountability of that state that whether the funds that are being given by the center is being actually used for that infrastructure development or not. Then there is need for periodic reassessment. Okay, let's suppose for the time being a special category status was given to any of the particular state, but there is need for proper reassessment at a regular interval of time for that state, whether the money, the status that that particular state has demanded for that particular purpose, whether they are using that or not. And second is that center government should time and again check all the issues of that state. They should also track the progress of that state, whether they are improving their state finances or not, whether they are actually working on the ground with the funds that they are getting from the center or not. This will help in ensuring the accountability of the states that are getting the special status from the center. Then there is need for fostering interstate cooperation. Okay, let's suppose Assam was in need of the special category status due to lack of industrial development. So rather than getting a special category from the center, they can, if the neighboring state will be helping Assam, it can increase the condition of the Assam. When this interstate cooperation will be having, we will be having this interstate cooperation, it will reduce the dependency on the center, it will reduce the dependency on that special category, and that will help you in ensuring a cooperative federalism. Now, a practice question from this particular topic is that demand of special category status by various states have gained momentum in recent times. Discuss the various benefits and concerns associated with the special category status. You can try and practice this particular mains question. So, our next topic is representation of women in Lok Sabha. The context of this particular topic is, in the recent concluded Lok Sabha elections, number of women members in the Lok Sabha has seen a slight dip. The syllabus to which this particular topic pertains to is GS paper 1, issues related to women, and GS paper 2, government policies and interventions and parliament. So first, let's try to understand the background of this topic. In the recent concluded 2024 elections, number of women MPs which got elected is 74 only, which saw a slight dip, whereas in 2019 elections it was 78 women members who got elected to the Lok Sabha, which was a historic high. If we compare it with the first Lok Sabha elections, in the first Lok Sabha elections there were only 22 members. Okay, if we compare it with the first Lok Sabha elections, we have seen a slight improvement, but that improvement has been very slow. If we look into this graph also show in the 1952 elections, number of women members who got elected was 4.41% of the total strength of the Lok Sabha. But in this particular 2024 election, this percentage is 13.63. In the 2019 elections, it was historic high, that was 14.36%. So in last 75 years since our independence, we have just improved almost 10%, which shows that our improvement has been very slow. Almost 8,360 candidates have contested these Lok Sabha elections, 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Out of these 8,360, only 10% candidates were women, which also shows that very few women members are getting opportunity to contest the elections. The average age of the newly elected women MPs is around 50, which shows that they are more younger as compared to their male counterparts. Okay, and other is that 78% have completed their undergraduation. That also shows that more educated women MPs are coming in the Lok Sabha. Then, if we want to compare with the other countries of the world, our condition is very poor. In South Africa, almost 46% of the members of their houses are women. 46% women are there in their parliament, whereas in UK it is 35% and US it is almost 29%, which shows that our condition is very bad, our condition is very poor. Okay, if you will just think, you will try to identify, you can if you can think on your own, only one chief minister of states at this point of time is women, and only 2 governor of state is women, which also shows that the women are not getting lot of opportunities. In last 75 years, we have only one female Prime Minister of India, which also shows that politics has been majorly male dominated. Now, what are the reasons for low representation of women in the Lok Sabha? The first is that the patriarchy, the gender stereotyping, that these roles like political roles are not made for women. They have a soft personality and they cannot represent the people in their constituency. So this gender stereotyping is also one of the reasons that they are not getting tickets for the contesting, and ultimately if they are not getting tickets, then it will be very difficult for them to come in the Lok Sabha. Then the second reason is the dual role syndrome. They have burden of both family, and the child bearing and child rearing both is majorly done by the women. So they don't get time to participate in the political arena. So this dual role where they have to also do the family compulsion, they have to also fulfill the family compulsions, and then they have to look for the employment or the political avenues. So this dual burden also diminishes their chances, also reduces their time that they can give for the political things. Then the lack of political education. As per the Global Gender Gap Index of 2023, India's rank in the Global Gender Gap Index was 127 out of 146. So that in that global gender gap, there was one of the parameters of the education attainment of the women, political education in particular. So that has been also very poor. The women are not very well versed, they are not very aware about their political rights, and that is also one of the reasons that is keeping them away from the political arenas and ultimately leading to low representation in the Lok Sabha. Okay, if you will see, if in this graph the percentage of women who are contesting elections, that has been also very low. From 1999 it was 6.1%, and in 2019 election it was 8.9% only, and in the recent concluded elections only almost 10% women candidates were there who were contesting elections. So the almost 50% of population is getting only 10% chances to contest election. So how we can think of that they will be getting the representation in the Lok Sabha? So this low opportunity is one of the major reasons for their low representation in the Lok Sabha. Then lack of political networks. The one of the major important reason is that they don't have that political network. There is lack of inter-party democracy in India. Okay, let's suppose there is any party XYZ. The state presidents, the district presidents, the representation in the local bodies, whether it is panchayats or municipals, the women do not get very representation. Okay, their condition in the urban local bodies and the panchayats have slightly improved after they got reservation, after the 73rd and 74th amendment, but still we are far behind in that cases also. So there is lack of inter-party democracy in different political parties of India, and these women do not have that political linkages, political networks, and that also hinders their chances of contesting election and ultimately coming to the Lok Sabha. Then the limited resources. There are various financial and political constraint, lack of proper financial and political support that women get, and that one of the reason for that is the lack of political network, and that is also leading to low participation of women in the political arenas. Then the next is social conditioning and the public attitudes. The patriarchy which is prevalent in the society, the gender stereotyping which forces women to conform to the traditional roles, that is the traditional role of child bearing and child rearing, the traditional role of cooking in the home, traditional role of managing the family. So this social conditioning which has developed, which has come from the tradition, and this has developed that psyche in the women that they are not very well versed, they are not very capable to contest the elections, they are not very capable to look for the political avenues, to look for the political roles, and that's also helps in hindering their chances in the coming into the different political arenas and political roles. Then next is unfriendly political environment. The political environment that is there is often full with lot of violence, crime and insecurity. Okay, So the condition of women is also already very worse. They also already face lot of persecution, violence, etc. Lot of insecurity that is faced by the women, and when they will be directly coming in front of men, they will be directly challenging men, there is high chances, and these are some of the apprehensions of the women, that they will face violence, crime and insecurity. So that is also one of the reason that they are very apprehensive in coming to the political roles. So what should be the way forward? The first is that there is need for dismantling the gender stereotyping. How we can do that? By promoting the responsibility, the shared responsibility with the both men and women. It is important to understand that, okay, childbearing is an important biological phenomenon that is only can be done by the woman, but child rearing can be done by both father and mother. That this, if this awareness is generated that this family management is a responsibility of both men and women, it will help in dismantling this gender stereotyping, and it can help in more women participation in the political arenas. Then there is need for mitigating the competition concerns. Okay, there should be merit based selections for the different positions that are there in the political parties, different positions that they get in the democratic setup. Okay, the tickets that are given by the political parties, that should also be given on the merit based selection rather than on the basis of gender. So that will also help in ensuring the more representation of women. Then the another food for thought that can be that we can think beyond reservation, where there is an option of proportional representation can be explored, where in the proportional representation the people who are representing, or the seats that are given to different political parties, or the representation that is there, is on the basis of the proportion of the people. Okay, let's suppose if 50 women are there and 50 men are there, okay, and they are contesting for 10 seats, then according to the proportion of their population, these seats will be divided. Means the 5 seats will be represented by women and 5 seats will be represented by men. So this can be thought for the better representation of women. Then building political literacy. There can be various programs with the help of different civil society organizations, or the syllabus changes can be also done. So there is that can help in ensuring that women get to know about their political rights, and when this political literacy will come in the women, they will ask for different roles in the political arenas. Then there is need for achieving work-life balance, whereas there is need for building networks and securing resources, whether it is financial resources or the political resources. There can be different facilities in different parliamentary complexes, state legislative assemblies, where if a female member have a compulsion of child rearing, so she does not get affected by that biological phenomena, and she get proper support by the society, by the different parliament and the state legislative assemblies. So that will also help in motivating those persons to coming in the political arenas. Then next is creating a safe and inclusive political environment where there is no violence or zero violence against the women representatives, against the women who are contesting elections. When all this will be done, it will help in achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 5, that is achievement of gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls. Now, one of the practice question from this particular topic that you can practice related to your mains stage is that what are the possible reasons for the low representation of women in Lok Sabha? Suggest some measures to improve the representation of women in Lok Sabha. Now, our next topic is TB burden in India. The context is that Health Ministry is reworking on a protocol to eliminate tuberculosis in India. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS2 Health, Government Policies and Interventions. So let's try to see the background of this particular topic. Tuberculosis is an airborne bacterial disease which is majorly caused by the bacteria Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and this tuberculosis disease mainly affects the lungs and it can also damage other parts of body like intestine, etc. So what are the different signs and symptoms of the tuberculosis? Majorly, there is weight loss, persistent fever, coughing for more than 14 days, coughing with blood, then fatigue, night sweats, and reduced appetite are some of the symptoms of the tuberculosis. As per the India TB report 2024, there has been almost 27.8 lakh cases of the tuberculosis, which has remained almost more or less persistent with the previous years. Then the India TB report 2024 also says that there has been almost 3.2 lakh deaths due to the tuberculosis, which shows the alarming conditions of the tuberculosis in India. So what are the different challenges in eliminating tuberculosis in India? First of all, the high burden of TB disease in India. India has the largest number of tuberculosis patients in the world, and this high burden is one of the main challenges in eliminating the TB. India have almost 27% of the world cases of the tuberculosis. Okay, then the drug resistant TB, which is more costly and difficult to treat than the regular TB. So what is happening? Let's suppose a person got TB, then there is almost 6 months course is there for the different antibiotics that are given to that person. Now generally these persons, due to lack of awareness or due to financial constraints, do not complete this 6 months course. Okay, and that is when the bacteria do not completely leave the body of that person, and slowly and gradually that drug resistant tuberculosis developed in that particular person, and which becomes more difficult and costly to track and eliminate. And there is one of the also other reasons are the inadequate use of antibiotics and poor adherence to the treatment that I have just explained. Then the limited access to the healthcare. The healthcare facilities in India are very poor, and these tuberculosis patients are mainly from the poor strata of the society, who are mainly dependent on the government hospitals and the government health facilities, and it becomes very difficult for them to access affordable and the quality treatment of the tuberculosis in these government hospitals. Then the stigma and the discrimination that is there, the fear of discrimination and the social isolation that is there with the tuberculosis disease, and that is one of the reason people do not come with that disease. They do not share their disease prevalence, and that also leads to more cases of tuberculosis, because this tuberculosis can be transferred from one person to another person or one human to another human. So one person who have tuberculosis, when he is not sharing that information, that disease prevalence, when he is not taking proper medication, when he is not following proper tuberculosis related hygiene practices, he will obviously transfer that bacteria to other person, and that will also lead to increased cases of tuberculosis. Then the poor living conditions. Okay, the poor people who live in unhygienic conditions, where there is no proper sanitation facilities, where there is no proper potable water, that leads to also more cases of tuberculosis, because these tuberculosis bacteria mainly thrive in unhygienic conditions, and that is these no proper sanitation and no potable water are also one of the mediums from where this tuberculosis bacteria can be transferred. Then there is limited awareness about the tuberculosis. Often people neglect the signs and symptoms of the tuberculosis. They think that this is just another fever, this is just natural, this is not the something big disease, and that is where they neglect this tuberculosis, and obviously this leads to more worsening of the cases. And there is limited awareness about the full course of treatment that I have just discussed. Okay, people are less aware that they have to continue about this medication for the 6 months. Only when the symptoms subsidize, these people think that now they are okay, and they leave that medication, which ultimately leads to the further drug resistant tuberculosis development and other complications. Then insufficient funding. Some experts also believe that there is no proper funding from both the central and state governments, and that also leads to less attention from the policymakers and ultimately leads to neglection of the tuberculosis like disease. What are the different government initiatives that is promoting, that is focusing on the TB Mukt Bharat. The first is the Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, which is providing the nutritional support to these TB patients. Then it is also increasing the access of diagnostic and treatment mainly in the government hospitals, and the government is also promoting different private hospitals through different measures that they also participate in the diagnostics process and the treatment processes of the different TB patients. Then the National Strategic Plan for the Tuberculosis Elimination, which is mainly from the 2017 to 2025, where the target for India is to eliminate tuberculosis by 2025, 5 years before the global target. Global target is to eliminate tuberculosis by 2030, whereas India want to eliminate through this National Strategic Plan by 2025 itself, 5 years before the global target. Then there is free of cost diagnosis and treatment that are given to the TB patients, and it is under the revised National Tuberculosis Control Program. Then almost 12,000 crore have been allocated for the next 3 years. They will also, these TB patients will be also given 500 rupees per month for the nutritional support to all the TB affected patients under this RNTCP, that is Revised National Tuberculosis Control Program. Then TB Harega Desh Jeetega campaign, which is more of a awareness generation campaign among the TB patients and among the society overall. Then there is Nikshay Poshan Yojana, which is mainly focusing on the nutritional support to the TB patient, where financial incentive of 500 rupees per month for each notified TB patient. Incentive will be also given if they complete their treatment, full course of the antibiotic treatment, and then incentives will be distributed in cash via direct benefit transfer or in kind. So one of the component under this National Strategic Plan is Nikshay Poshan Yojana. Then there are also various antibiotics that are also being promoted by the government under the different government hospitals and the government facilities. Some of these antibiotics are rifampicin, isoniazid and pyrazinamide. These are some of the antibiotics that can be asked in your exam. These are related to which particular disease or where these chemicals are used. So what should be the way forward? First of all, there is need for engaging better with the private hospital and the chemists, who are the first point of contact. Generally, the private chemists and the private doctors in the rural areas, they are the first point where the generally people go for the treatment whenever they get fever or anything else. So government needs to have a proper collaboration and cooperation with them. They need to incentivize them so they can help in better targeting of the TB patients, better treatment of the TB patients. Then leveraging the contact rural medical practitioners. Rural medical practitioners, who are one of the important components of the providing health services in the rural areas, they needs to be contacted, they needs to be provided proper awareness about these TB. They need to be given free of cost antibiotics and other things that these rural practitioners can provide to the different TB patients. Then there is need for effective implementation of ongoing programs which are there, whether it is Nikshay Poshan Yojana or the campaigns like TB Harega Desh Jeetega. There is need for proper effective implementation and proper monitoring whether that programs are running properly or not in both the center and the state level. Then there is need for investment in research and development, where new diagnostic tools can be made which can be more effective in the treatment of the tuberculosis, which can provide much more affordable and accessible treatment to the different TB patients, where mainly the poor patients will be beneficiary. Then there is need for increasing in the government funding. Government should understand that the alarming conditions of the tuberculosis in India, and there is need for enhanced funding by the government for the better diagnostics and the treatments of the TB patients. Then there is also need for awareness generation. Okay, here the central government can take help from the state government, state local bodies, civil society organization, different NGOs, etc. so that every patient who have been notified about TB, until and unless he complete his course, he get proper nutritional support, he may be tracked properly. And there is need for destigmatization of the tuberculosis in the society. All these measures help in ensuring we become the TB Mukt Bharat or TB free India. Then next topic is blizzard. The context of this particular topic is that recently 9 trekkers from the Karnataka die in the Uttarakhand blizzard. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 1 important geophysical phenomena. So what are blizzard? Let's try to understand some basics. These are the atmospheric natural disasters where intense snowstorm with reduced visibility. So under the blizzard, what is happening? There is strong winds, okay. Then there is snowfall, and that is persistent for almost 3 hours. So this complete condition is called as blizzard. So why this blizzard is happening? Due to strong sustained wind that lasts for extended periods, almost for more than 3 hours, and there is snowfall also. The reason for that is that temperature is often below 0 degrees, and that leads to frostbite and hypothermia, which are mainly due to the snowfalls or the subpar temperatures. The various symptoms of the frostbite, okay, that mainly affects our palms and hands, etc. Redness or pain in any skin area, a white or greyish yellow skin area, skin that feels unusually firm or waxy, or the numbness in the skin and the bodies. These are some of the symptoms of the frostbite which can happen under the blizzard condition. Then hypothermia condition, where people are mainly affected by the cold condition that can lead to shivering, exhaustion, confusion, okay, memory loss and other things. So what is the origination of the blizzards? How the blizzards form? First is that the important is the cold air which should be below freezing. That is, air temperature both up in the clouds and down at the ground level must be cold. This is one of the important condition. Second is the moisture. Air must blow across a large body of water such as the ocean. What is happening? I will explain properly. And the third condition is the warm rising air and the cold. When the cold air is meeting, it is leading to a front formation, and that is resulting in the precipitation. So what is happening? Let's suppose this is the area, okay. So for the formation of blizzards, first of all, there should be cold air here, and there should be cold air on the top. That should be in any way. At the top side, there are cold air masses. Why? Because as we know, with the increasing height, the temperature reduces. Now what is happening? The warm air is moving to this area. This warm air contains moisture. It is coming with the moisture. Now what happens? When this warm air is lighter, okay, it is coming towards this area, and now this warm air is lighter. It will be going upwards. Now when this warm air is meeting this cold air on the top, this area is called as front, or the boundary where they are meeting is called as front, where the cold air mass and the warm air mass is meeting. Now when this warm air mass which have the moisture in it, it has meted this cold air mass, it will lead to condensation. Now condensation will lead to precipitation, but since there was very low temperature in the cold air mass condition, and that will also lead to the precipitation changing into snowflakes, and that will lead to snowfall. So when this warm air came, it met the cold air and it led to formation of front or boundary between the two air masses, and that led to the moisture that was being carried by this warm air that has been subjected to the condensation and ultimately precipitation. But since the temperature was very low there, it has changed to snowflakes, and subsequently a snowfall is happening. So this was what are three conditions, that is cold air below freezing at the lower level and at the very top level. Then the warm air containing moisture should be there, and warm rising air should be there, so that snowfall can happen under this condition of blizzard. What are the various effects of the blizzard? First of all, it affects the daily life persons, whether going to the employment avenues or attending the schools, all get affected. Then various health effects. Since the air pressure is very low, it leads to difficulty in breathing, which can also lead to conditions of asthma, etc., where people find it very difficult in breathing, and that can also affect the lungs of people. Then it also leads to loss to life and property. As we know that there are very strong winds under this blizzard condition, so that may lead to that may affect the power grids, that may that may lead to uprooting of trees, that may affect the different infrastructure like bridges, roads, etc. So that can damage the life and property. That can also lead to economic loss, because mainly when these conditions will be there, it will also affect the working of the industries. Okay, it may affect the power grids, power lines, etc. So that may lead to reduced industrial activities, and ultimately it can lead to economic loss in that particular country. Now, our next topic is dark matter. The context of this topic is that a write-up has appeared emphasizing that rival conflicting ideas are there against the dark matter which has been proposed earlier. The syllabus to which this particular topic belongs is your UPSC Prelims Science and Technology. So let's try to understand first the basics of this particular topic. So dark matter are those matter which have no charge, they have no light, and that's why they are dark. Almost, if we only 5% of this universe is the visible matter, and 95% consists of dark matter or dark energy, whereas 68% almost is the dark energy and 27% is dark matter. So what are dark matter? These are the hypothetical form of matter that does not interact with the light or other electromagnetic radiation. Generally, what happens? It is inferred to exist based on its gravitational effects on the visible matters. Okay, so mainly whatever we see with our naked eyes or the visible matters like planets, comets, etc. are there. Okay, they are visible due to interactions of the four fundamental forces of the nature. What are the four fundamental forces? That are magnetism, weak nuclear interaction, strong nuclear interaction, and the gravitational forces. So interaction of these four fundamental forces leads to the visible universe. Now these visible universe, when the gravitational effects of the visible matter will lead to dark matter. Okay, so what is dark energy? These are the theorized type of energy that exerts a negative repulsive force acting in the opposite direction of the gravity, whereas dark matter are the attractive force that holds galaxies together, and dark energy are the repulsive forces that leads to expansion of the universe. Let's try to understand that in a very basic. Let's suppose this is a galaxy or the different galaxies there. Now these will be dark matter. This invisible hand, let's suppose this hand is not visible, okay, which is this hand is holding these galaxies. Okay, so this invisible hand that is holding galaxy is dark matter. Okay, so these are the galaxies which are being holded by the dark matter, or you can say the invisible hand which is holding these galaxies, and that is the dark matter. Whereas dark energy is leading to the expansion of the universe. Okay, they are repulsive forces, they are expanding the universe, and there is a tug of war that is going on between this dark matter and dark energy, and at a time the force of dark energy surpasses the dark matter. And with the time this is going to happen, this is happening, that the forces of dark energy has surpassed the dark matter, and that is leading to the expansion of the universe. The repulsive force has increased as compared to the attractive force, and that is leading to the expansion of the universe. One of the reasons why the force of dark energy is surpassing that of dark matter is that almost 68% of this universe is the dark energy, and only 27% is the dark matter, and that is also one of the reason that repulsive force with the time has surpassed or has increased the attractive forces, and that's why the dark energy, the forces of dark energy has increased as compared to the dark matter. Comparatively it has been increased, and that's why the universe is expanding. And these were the basic things about the dark matter and dark energy. Now let's move towards the prelims snippets. Our first topic is Sensex, which is also called as sensitive index, which is related to the Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay, and it was founded in 1986. It majorly consists of 30 largest and the most liquid companies listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay, whereas Nifty 50 is related to the National Stock Exchange. And the calculation methodology of the Sensex index is mainly on the basis of the free float market capitalization of these 30 largest and the most liquid companies. Whatever the free float market capitalization condition will be of these 30 largest companies, okay, will be the aggregate of that will lead to an index, and that index will be known as the Sensex or the sensitive index. The coverage majorly the companies related to the finance, banking, technology, healthcare, consumer goods, among others, are some of the major companies which takes part or which are the major constituents of this Sensex or the sensitive index. The returns mainly depend on the market conditions, okay, and other factors like different sentiments that are going on, the political sentiments, okay, like recent government changes or the Lok Sabha elections have led to changes in the Sensex index, the geopolitical scenario, okay. For example, when Russia-Ukraine war erupted, it leads to tumbling of Sensex or declining of Sensex. So, the different political, geopolitical, economic factors, okay, as the RBI changes its policy stance, where repo rate, etc. So, that also leads to effect on these Sensex. So, political, economic and geopolitical phenomena, factors that are there in the different parts of world and particularly in India also, that affect this Sensex. Apart from this, the policies and the conditions, the financial results, business expansions plans of these 30 companies also affect the Sensex. Okay, if let's suppose all of these companies have a poor quarterly results, obviously that leads to decline of these Sensex index. Then our next topic is Telemanas, which is a 24/7 tele mental health facilities in every state and union territory. Full form is tele mental health assistance and networking across state, which the aim of which is to provide integrated medical and psychosocial interventions and scale up reach of mental health services. Okay, let's suppose there may be some person who is in anxiety, who is in depression, and he may have some suicidal thought which is very unfortunate. So, he can get help through this mental health assistant facilities that is provided by the government. Some of the features of this is that there is a toll free number which is available 24/7, where you can connect with a trained and accredited counselor who can help you in getting a proper solution, who can stabilize your psychological needs, and they may also connect with some mental health specialist according to your needs. Okay, if an specialized care is needed, that counselor may connect you to that mental health specialist. Okay, and you can also connect with medical resources or e-Sanjeevani for in-person or online services under this Telemanas. Then next is PMI or Purchasing Manager Index, which is a survey based measure that asks the respondents about changes in their perception about key business variables as compared to the previous months. So, this is mainly a survey which measures the perceptions about the different respondents whom they are surveying, and the purpose is to provide information about the current and future business condition to a company, and that can help in better decision making by the different businesses. Okay, different analysts and investors can also tweak their policies according to the perceptions that are going on in the market. Okay, and it is majorly compiled by IHS Markit, which is a part of S&P Global, and different parameters under which these respondents give their responses is the new orders of the company, inventory levels, production, the supplier deliveries, and the employment environment that is there in the economy. These parameters help in getting this Purchasing Managers Index. Then our next topic is CBIC, which stands for Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, which is the apex authority responsible for administering the indirect taxes and custom duties in India. It was established by Central Board of Revenue Act 1963 and it is under the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. The mandate of this CBIC is to formulate policies and implement various laws of the Government of India related to the indirect taxes and the customs, and it also ensures the effective revenue collections by the Government of India, proper revenue collections by the Government of India. It also leads to trade facilitation in relation to the customs and GST, that is goods and services tax, and other indirect taxes that are there in our country. So that was all from my side. Thank you.